Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to discuss the 5C's for transforming your destiny. You know, my goal is to bring you transformational ideas and ideals that would help you generate massive outcome and that would ultimately change the quality and the standards of your life. So please stay with me and stay to the end. It's going to be a short lecture. So the first thing I want you to note is the word character. There is no way you will transform onto greatness without this concept called character. If you look at it, character talks about the clarity of identity and roles and responsibility. I want you to get it. Identity defines your brand. Just like when you talk about a company, example Coca-Cola, it speaks to a brand, right? When you talk about McDonald's, it speaks to a brand. That is the same way your character reflects onto people. So people relate with you based on the conceptual image of your character that they have. And that is why two of us can approach someone. Approach a bank, for example, for loan. And based on our track record of character, based on the identity they define to either of us, they can give out big loans to someone, to a company, and not give out loans to another. Just because by the definition of their identity, based on all the factors they have seen, they know that this is a credible person. So when we talk about character, it rests on the active battle rhythm. That's the sequence that you've been coming with. So as a person, you must have a sequence of developing yourself academically. That's why we ask for a CV for anyone who wants to get a job. We want to see the sequence of all the jobs you've held, what you have done there. We want to see all those great things. So if you want to transform your destiny, you must start working on your character. You must start working on the rhythm with which you're running your life upon. You must understand that these things will ultimately define your identity. Although I want to bring something to your notice. This word identity speaks to two things. It speaks to your being and it speaks to your doing. Classically, being is superior to doing because you can actually pretend about who you are. Being means who you are. And that is why we want to elicit basically and define that your character is your inner core. The person you are when all the external adornments around you had been taken away. No more gold, no car, no vehicle, nothing, no money. And we want to see how well you would even stay with the rhythm of the values that you claim to believe in. People had lean character with integrity a lot of time, but I love to add it with intent. Because these two crucial factors must go hand in hand. Integrity defines what your moral value system is, how sound those moral value system looks like. However, the intent must also be watched every time. Because in most cases, the motive of people is not a win-win scenario. They want to win and they don't care what happens to others. As a person of character, if you truly want to transform your employee, you want to transform the people you work for, you want to transform even yourself, you must work always on your integrity, the moral value system that drives you, and how you ensure that the scenario bats a win-win always. The second thing is competence. I keep saying this always. You must be enlightening. Anyone who meets you, you must be able to leave them with better light, with better knowledge. You must always dissipate higher realm of understanding. They call it quote and unquote intellectual stimulation. So, you also must be encouraging every time. People must meet you and their energy level must rise up. Their faith level to conquer the impossible must increase. This shows that you're on a journey to transformation yourself. You must at every time also be empowering. So if I meet you any day, I expect you, if you're on a journey to greatness and you call yourself a person of competence, I expect enlightenment, I expect encouragement, and I expect empowerment. I must leave you either with the knowledge of a better tool, better idea, better character value that I need to incorporate. One thing you must know about competence is excellence. You see, you must keep developing your capacities or capability to serve better, to serve your society better, to serve your customers better, to serve your patients better, to do anything. And the only way you can achieve this capacity for serving better is when you have sound evaluation of your system. You see, experiences, when integrated together and evaluated properly, is what really leads to transformation. It is not the passage of time that leads to transformation. It is evaluated experiences applied into what you're doing that leads to competence and ultimately leads to transformation. I want you to note that elegance, excitement, and being engaged in any system is a function of the competence the system is able to deliver to. So if you call yourself a teacher, a lecturer, if you call yourself a boss, a leader in any organization, you must bring elegance, you must bring excitement, and you must be engaging. Ultimately, people will check your competence immediately by the quality of results and outcomes you perform. Now, I need you to be careful at this point, because the goal is not to force you to generate results, because people can manipulate out results. You can rule ignorance and you can manipulate it to get results. But what we're saying, don't forget that we just left character. If it's when you merge character with competence, that's when you generate massive result, which is transformational in its capacity. You can generate results today that can actually kill a bigger result tomorrow. People say, so we once won a contract in millions of dollars many years ago. And a friend just came as an evaluator and he said, what did you guys trade off to win this contract? That was when every one of us went quiet and we started evaluating. So how many relationships did we trade off? What did we do? So ultimately, character with competence would help you merge evaluation properly, and you would balance the value of what you're trading off, because ultimately your capacity for transformation is based on how well you integrate character with competence. Because there's also a concept called compassion. Compassion comes with empathy, but in the place of capacity. It comes in the place of the capacity to deliver. I jokingly say this, when we have a scenario in an hospital and people rush in and they're crying about a victim, the person who brings out money to pay, that go and take care of this patient, that's the person that is compassionate. That's how I define compassion. The surgeon who has the mental and the skill required, mental capacity and the skill required to salvage the life of the patient, the victim, is the one who can demonstrate true compassion. So anybody who demonstrates pity and does not have the capacity to help is only showing pity or sympathy at best. Compassion defines the capacity for you to help the person. And it also speaks to timely support and the care for the well-being of others. Compassion means you listen deeply. You listen to what is even not said, so that you can pick from what is not said to solve the problem. You must show enthusiasm. You can't tell me I'm compassionate and I just want to have a blunt affect and you just look away. You must demonstrate some action, some demonstration of joy, excitement in the bid of trying to help me. And this is key to leaders, because by the time you integrate your character with competence, if you do not mix compassion with it, it's only a matter of time for you to also meet your own Waterloo. Why would you meet your own Waterloo? Because you're also not a perfect person and you can't build a perfect system. However, in the bid of striving to fill in perfection, to achieve excellence, you will need compassionate systems. And because you need compassionate systems, you yourself must also build such compassionate structure, so that you can enjoy compassionate help from your system. This is the most crucial part of the thing. You know, truth by itself is very confrontational, and truth challenges us. It convicts us. And so people generally say truth is bitter. That is the reason why a compassionate person finds a friendly way to deliver the whole truth. Not compromising, not flickering away the goal of the truth, but delivering the exact truth that is needed. So ultimately, you must understand that it is in the place of great compassion to always say the truth. You're a person of character, you're a person of competence, but you must deliver compassionately. I have 2 more points to go. Courage is one great thing. You say there is no great mind that do not work with grit. Grit is critical to greatness. I say this popularly. I say there are some great ideas you will birth in your life. It is the eye of your courage that will spot it first. When the eye of your courage spots it, you keep going. People ask you, explain how. You will just say, it's my God. And ultimately, the eye of your understanding or of your intelligence will catch up. So if you're not a person who is courageous enough to keep going, when the high of your courage picks an idea, when your imaginative capacity breaks through, you're going to find it difficult to transform the impossible. So I want you to transform your destiny, and I need you to be courageous. You need to be strong and to be courageous, because the high of your courage is what will drive you in most cases when you're going through your valley of despair. And by the time you're coming out, the high of your intelligence catches up, and then you're able to build transformationally. Capacity for unwavering faith is critical. Tenacity of purpose, the capacity to stay and be strong. Adaptive and resilient capacity. I'm sure you know this by now. Adaptation is your ability to survive in any terrain, and you must constantly scan that terrain. That is what guarantees your adaptive capacity. But resilience is a tougher word, because even when you're scanning, there are sometimes crises will come. Example, COVID-19, climate change, earthquakes, AI, ChatGPT, things will come and disrupt your system, disrupt your person, disrupt your business. Resilience is the ability to recover from crisis. So you are in a down moment in crisis, your ability to recover back and retain your performance is called resilience. And this is a function of a huge amount of courage with unwavering faith. And let me move to the last slide, which speaks to consistency. You see, I want you to understand one thing. If you will transform greatly, you will need this word consistency. Go and ask every great mind. If you look at the wealth of Warren Buffett as at 1970s, and if you compare his wealth today, and you go through that graph, you will see the power of consistency, staying consistently on the same ideas, and consistently delivering according to a rhythm. This is what birth is greatness. I say this, you must be inspirationally motivated, because if you're not motivated, you will get to a point where your consistency will be challenged. You must have applied optimism. Applied means you are adding wisdom to hope. So you must have a hope of that great transformational end. So Warren Buffett already saw himself as a billionaire. Let me give another example. Maybe a Bill Gates saw himself as a billionaire. But one thing that drives consistency is the power of focus that comes in this disciplined reading for accountability, for holding yourself accountable every day. To make sure if I say weekly, I will be delivering this amount, I'm delivering weekly. Go and notice people who are just average-minded, but they have given themselves to building wealth through a consistent system, like maybe a cooperative society or a society where they just contribute money weekly, monthly. You will see that over time they would have transformed their pedestal, because someone will start with $100 today, and if he consistently keeps growing, it's just a matter of time. He would enjoy the advantage of compound interest in consistency, and he will deliver a transformational result. Ultimately, I will not end this by I must talk about patience, I must talk about perseverance, I must talk about right priorities. These are the factors that define consistency. I would love to end with this quote that talks about integrating your capacities across these 5 C's. Your character, the competence you build, your compassionate nature, how courageous you are to break new grounds, to break into new terrain, and to also defend the older terrain where you're already holding. And then consistently do that will determine your ability to move from a conforming or a socialized mind. A socialized mind is just a mind that accepts everything, that takes on the social norms, does not challenge the status quo, is not even ready to evolve, let alone transform. Is a mind that is so resistant to change. They call them laggards. And you move into transforming mind, who can generate massive outcome and produce great standard of living for yourself. So these 5 C's must guide the way you transform your destiny. And that is the goal of this discussion. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you actually listened to the end. Please, you can reach me through these channels. Bye.